Motley Crue is notoriously famous for feuding with other bands. So let's dive in and take a look at just a few. Number 1. Metallica vs. Motley Crue. Often clashing during the early 1980s, both bands were fighting for dominance in the Los Angeles rock scene during Metallica's primitive years prior to their relocation to the Bay Area. Both singer and guitarist James Hetfield and drummer Lars Ulrich expressed their hatred of the hair metal scene in Los Angeles during the time and frequently attacked multiple up-and-coming local bands in multiple interviews, including Motley Crue. Allegedly before a show in 1982, Lars Ulrich claimed he drunkenly screamed "Screw Motley Crue" at the band from outside the Troubadour in Hollywood, in which Nikki Sixx chased Lars Ulrich in retaliation. Former lead guitarist Dave Mustaine during a 1983 interview had also taken aim at the band by claiming Crue and glam metal were an abbreviation for gay LA music. Though despite their public disdain for glam metal, Metallica were impressed by the production and commercial success of Dr. Feelgood in 1989, later hiring the album's producer Bob Rock to produce their self-titled fifth album in 1991. Several years later, both Nikki Sixx and Lars Ulrich would reignite the animosity after Lars Ulrich accused Motley Crue of performing to a backing track at the 1997 American Music Awards. Nikki Sixx responded on an online forum and would also attack Metallica's then recent album Load, insulting multiple members of the band for their change in sound and visual image. During a 2003 interview, Nikki Sixx would strangely defend Metallica's then latest album Saint Anger by claiming "I have learned to have sympathy for the enemy." In 2006, both Tommy Lee and former Metallica bassist Jason Newsted took part in a reality show entitled Rockstar Supernova as they would both participate in creating a supergroup while the show's premise revolved around finding a frontman with a contest. During a 2011 meet and greet in Mexico City, James Hetfield was approached by a fan attacking Motley Crue due to their public image and frequent appearances in tabloids. James Hetfield refused to directly respond to the fan's comments towards Motley Crue but did find humor in his insults toward the band. In 2015, Tommy Lee would reignite the feud when he posted a tweet featuring a picture of Lars Ulrich with the words, "Straight Outta Tempo," superimposed over his face. Tommy Lee presumably used a meme maker intended to promote the 2015 biopic by NWA, Straight Outta Compton. Following the post by Tommy Lee, Vince Neil had stated online that he was unaware of the feud with Metallica. However, during a later interview with an Oregon radio show, Vince Neil was again asked about the band's current relationship with Metallica and hung up on the show's host. Things were alleged to have calmed down by 2017, when James Hetfield appeared on Nikki Sixx's radio show Sixth Sense. During an interview in 2021, Nikki Sixx applauded Metallica's longevity and praised several of their releases during an interview. Number 2. Guns N' Roses vs. Motley Crue. Though Guns N' Roses were initially hired to open for Motley Crue during the summer of 1987, things grew hostile between both sides in 1988 after Vince Neil alleged that then Guns N' Roses guitarist Izzy Stradlin had assaulted his then wife Charisse at the famed Cat House Club, according to Vince Neil and club owner Ricky Ratman. Things came to a breaking point at the 1989 MTV Video Music Awards, ironically following Motley Crue's presentation for the award of Best Metal Video to Guns N' Roses. However, only bassist Duff McKagan and drummer Steven Adler appeared at the stage to accept the award. Following their performance with Tom Petty, Vince Neil had rushed the side of the stage and threw a punch at Izzy Stradlin before being restrained by security. Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose was enraged with the incident, threatening Vince Neil after security had separated the two. During an interview in August 1990, Axl Rose later challenged Vince Neil to a fight during an interview with Kurt Loder, claiming anytime he wants it, Atlantic City, I don't care, we'll put money on it. Vince Neil responded in early 1991 by also challenging Rose to a fight. "Axl, if you are watching this, I want to challenge you to a fight. I'm gonna give you time and I'm gonna give you the place. There's no backing out now, buddy. It's time to put up or shut up," later expressing his intent to possibly host the fight in an arena. Reportedly, Eddie Van Halen and then current Van Halen singer Sammy Hagar had offered money to possibly host the fight at Madison Square Garden in New York City. However, for unknown reasons, neither Axl Rose or Vince Neil responded to the offer. Vince Neil claims Izzy Stradlin had called him with an apology for the incident, but the 1991 Guns N' Roses track Shotgun Blues was allegedly a diss track aimed at Vince Neil. Tensions were reported to have died down shortly afterwards when both Tommy Lee and former Guns N' Roses guitarist Gilby Clarke participated with former Metallica bassist Jason Newsted in Rockstar Supernova, as they would contribute musical parts in the show's contest. Things remained cordial until 2009 when Vince Neil had lobbed insults towards Axl Rose in response to Guns N' Roses' most recent album Chinese Democracy, calling the record a flop and criticizing Axl Rose for his management of the band at the time. In 2014, Revolver magazine honored Axl Rose by calling him the world's greatest singer. Neil jokingly mocked the award on Twitter, but deleted his response shortly afterward. Number 3. Godsmack vs. Motley Crue. The feud between alternative metal band Godsmack and Motley Crue stems from the two sides clashing after Godsmack was hired as one of several supporting acts for Motley Crue during the band's 2009 Crue Fest 2 tour. Godsmack frontman Sully Erna and drummer Shannon Larkin have claimed the feud originated from Motley Crue's treatment of the support bands on tour, particularly Godsmack's fans who allegedly often left venues early following their own performance. Shannon Larkin recalls in a 2011 interview with Loudwire, "Motley Crue's security were real weird with our guests getting backstage, like our guests might want to look at Motley Crue. Our guests were there to see us and they didn't care a shit about Motley Crue. Motley Crue is a legendary band that we all respect. When I was 17, I had shouted at the devil, but it just kind of fronted us a little that they would think that our guests would be starstruck over them. So, that's where the bad blood came from." Sully Erna allegedly penned the 2010 track Cryin' Like a Bitch about Nikki Sixx in regards to his behavior towards Godsmack during the tour, though Shannon Larkin claims the song was written about former San Diego Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers. Nikki Sixx continued in a war of insults with the band as he alleged that Godsmack had asked to appear on his radio show multiple times, due to initial allegations of it being written as a diss track aimed at Nikki Sixx. During a 2015 appearance on the Jasta show hosted by Hatebreed frontman Jamie Jasta, Sully Erna would attack Nikki Sixx further by calling him an old, fat, washed-up has-been. Sully Erna continued the tirade by even challenging Nikki Sixx to a fight, claiming, "I'll say it straight out, I've never met a bigger prick in my life than Nikki Sixx. He's a douchebag. He's straight up a douche, and I don't give a F what he says. He knows exactly where I am, and he knows exactly how he can find me anytime that guy has the balls to come and look me up." Following the interview, Nikki Sixx responded to Erna's comments on a Facebook livestream, calling him a baby. Nikki Sixx would also claim the band would refuse any future festival dates if they were booked on the same bill as Godsmack. Number 4. Steel Panther vs. Motley Crue. The comedic glam metal band Steel Panther engaged in a feud with Motley Crue following a tour between the two bands and Def Leppard in 2011. Numerous members of Steel Panther claim they were heavily influenced by Motley Crue's music. However, touring with the band exhibited a hostile environment, particularly from Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee. In the years following the tour, guitarist Satchel claimed Tommy Lee had been rather hostile towards multiple band members due to allegations that he and singer Michael Starr had sex with Tommy Lee's girlfriend at the time. Michael Starr also commented on Motley Crue's other feud with Godsmack, claiming Sully Erna would severely beat Nikki Sixx in a fistfight. In a 2015 interview, Michael Starr would claim the members of Motley Crue take themselves too seriously given the comedic nature of Steel Panther's music. Nikki Sixx would respond in 2016 claiming he prioritized taking his musical contributions much more seriously. During a 2018 interview, Satchel claimed there are bands that hate our guts. We did a tour a few years ago with Def Leppard and Motley Crue. Things escalated in 2019 when drummer Styx Sardinia and Michael Starr appeared in a video on the channel Little Punk People where the two were asked which dead musicians they could revive. Michael Starr jokingly claimed he wanted to bring back Vince Neil from the 1980s, enraging Nikki Sixx, who later attacked Michael Starr on Twitter for his comment. Shortly following the response from Nikki Sixx, Steel Panther's band account replied with an interview Motley Crue gave from 1994. Vince Neil was not a part of the band, in which Nikki Sixx and guitarist Mick Mars mocked and joked at Vince Neil's weight following a jet ski accident. Though Motley Crue would not respond to the post, multiple band members of Steel Panther have praised Motley Crue's music as influential in multiple interviews afterwards. So there you have it. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for similar content. Rock on!